Previously on Maplestory the novel, Sacred Tears.
Goddess, my party and I have returned.
We must prepare for the imminent attack.
We were trying to come here when your scouting party found us.
We used to be forest spirits that darkness altered.
He's here!
Please hear my prayer.
It's even worse than that.
Goddess, we must lower the barrier!
Charge!
And now, the continuation of Chapter 23, Part 2. Ariel screamed. The answering roar of the night spread through the halls of the temple, echoing enough to create the sound of thousands more. Skeletons, wisps, and knights slammed into one another, swords clattering as steel and bone shattered. Ariel spun through the ranks like a dancer, splitting the wisps and breaking skeletons. Those who tried to attack her from the flanks were met with her strong wings and thrown aside before being met with her axe. Monks stayed as close as they could to the knights, healing the damage done to them by the skeletons or wisps. But the most frightening things were the chains striking knights and corrupting them within a few moments. With each strike, Ariel needed to eliminate more and more knights, some of them having stood beside her mere seconds before. Sometimes chains would come for her, but were deflected away, showering her with sparks and flakes of blackened metal. Through the crowd, she caught a glimpse of him, Dane. He stood near the center of the throng, hurling chain after chain into the maw, and turning knights faster and faster as those he had corrupted before held other knights in place. As a chain blazed past her, Ariel turned to issue a command.
General Dodo, gather your forces and...
Before she could finish, a mass of chains slammed through the whale's body, spraying his golden blood everywhere before being torn apart, dissipating into a cloud of ash. Ariel stood frozen in stunned silence, unable to give commands. Cold ran through her body as her hands began to shake. Dodo's giant gold and dark blue helmet crashed into the ground before her, splattered with his blood. It happened so quickly, Ariel hardly had time to process it. One of the knights grabbed her and ran back for the temple, only faintly able to hear the desperate cry to fall back. Chains struck the ground where they ran, some slamming into the knights from behind, burying them into the ground or cutting those that ran in half. The knight leading her disappeared as a chain drove him into the ground, letting momentum carry her into the temple. Qualm knights and a few remaining memory knights began shutting the gate behind her when a huge chain burst through the center, splintering it apart and slamming into the wall, instantly beginning to turn it to ash.
Goddess, what are your commands?
A chief memory knight thundered. Ariel only stared at him, his voice sounding so very far away. After a moment, she could hear Lilynouche taking command, giving orders in her calm but stern tone. Dodo had been there since Ariel first existed. Now he was simply gone. Was this how Rhinne felt when she watched Will disintegrate in her arms? A knight tackling her to the ground shook her from her trance, while Lilynouche fired a shard of ice into the links of an oncoming chain. After standing back up, the chaos of the courtyard further brought her back to the present, her thundering heart and quick breathing finally slowing. Dodo may be gone, but Rhinne still needed protection from Magus Sloe's forces. Above her, she could still hear Lilynouche belting out orders.
Until the goddess recovers, I am taking command of this front. Squadron 4, Phalanx formation. Wall Knights, ready your spears for a volley. Chief, take the goddess back to the temple.
Thank you, General, but that will not be necessary. Knights, continue Lilynouche's command. Stand firm. We must not let him into the temple.
She shouted, summoning her axe to her hand. She squared her shoulders and walked to the phalanx line, holding her axe high and back. The few remaining memory knights gathered on either side of what remained of the front gate, readying to throw it open. Ariel nodded, and the company charged to meet the oncoming forces as Ariel swung hard, unleashing a wave of ice.
It seems her resolve is beginning to break, Master Sloe. Must not have been that strong if the mere sight of a general dying froze her.
Hilda said with a laugh, holding her staff forward as the broken skeletons gathered back together and shambled on.
She is an immortal deity who has never witnessed the brutality of death firsthand. I intend to shatter her.
Sloe seethed, summoning another chain, breaking through the front gate to make it wider.
What about the temple? Shouldn't we try to preserve it to have a place to rule from?
Asked Magnus, motioning to the chain still buried within the temple's foundation in assorted columns.
This temple is a monument to all that is wrong in the world. Once we have Rhinne, nothing will stand against us.
Proud eyes stared at the sky above the temple. Finally, the world would pay for what it had done. They would all know what it was to lose what they loved most, and feel what he felt.
This will not satisfy your need. You know that, don't you?
A voice asked in his mind. Sloe gritted his teeth, biting his lip hard enough to make it bleed. The bothersome remaining sliver of Dane still pestered him with questions about his purpose, his reasoning, and his path.
I will ensure justice is served. Any path you choose will let everyone off the hook.
Sloe thought back, feeling as if Dane sighed and shook his head, closing his eyes to face him mentally.
This isn't justice. It's only revenge.
Dane sighed.
Call it what you will, but everyone, everywhere, will finally know the emotions plaguing me, and I will enjoy every second of it.
Sloe sneered.
You may kill everyone and everything, but their darkness will only add to your own, and you will still exist with no one to take your revenge against. You will exist in torture for all eternity in emptiness.
Your solution is weak. Getting rid of anyone who added to me is the only way to make it right.
Sloe growled, becoming a cloud of snapping teeth before Dane.
And yours is senseless.
Dane retorted before Sloe attacked and mentally stuffed him further into the corners of his mind, opening his eyes that appeared even darker and colder than just a moment before. Beside him, he could hear Hilda chuckling as she waved her hands over the piles of bones before her, assembling them into a giant as her undead horde slowly overran the front gate. In their midst, Sloe, Hilda, and Magnus watched as the undead and specters pushed in around Ariel, grabbing her wings and weapon to pin her down.
Keep her there. I want her to watch as I take everything she has ever loved away.
Sloe growled, beginning to approach the gate until a blast of light showered down around her, blocking their path. Dozens of undead inspectors flew from it, charred or aged beyond recognition. Another burst of light shoved away the remaining forces, revealing Nanahuatzin and another elven man, dressed in dark armor with a bull skull for a helm.
What are they doing here?
Magnus growled, reaching for his sword when a shout from Arcarium's rear guard made him turn around to see Dracova's soldiers cutting through the serpent sorcerers, led by the Kaisir.
Magnus? Are these the ones who banished you?
Sloe asked flatly.
Yes, that is Kaisir Valkyrion, the reason I came to you. Let me vanquish him for you, Master. With the power you've given me, I will overwhelm him.
Sloe nodded silently as Magnus drew his sword with pride, feeling Hilda's hand on his bicep. When he turned to face her, there was a hint of something else in her glowing eyes.
Just don't do anything rash,
she said, her smile seeming forced. Magnus reached around her waist, pulling her to him almost too tightly and kissing her with beastly passion.
You have nothing to fear,
he growled, springing into the air and launching meteors of black magic into the ranks of the approaching Shivikova. Dozens of mage and swordman specters formed at the impact points, instantly jumping onto the nearest warriors and mauling their armor and flesh. Magnus dove for the Kaisir, calling his name as their swords met with so much force the sound wave shoved Arcarium's forces away.
Do you think he can handle him?
Hilda asked as she watched the fight, sparks flying with each sword impact.
That is not our concern. It is his. Our task remains ahead,
Sloe answered, turning toward the temple and watching as Nanahuatzin and Haim decimated Hilda and Sloe's forces. Hilda watched in silence, dread beginning to build in her chest, making the lump in her throat harder to swallow. Her relationship with Magnus was anything but typical, but her heart was already his. At least, what was left of it.
Magnus, don't do anything rash. And come back to me,
she thought, returning to focus on her forces. She hesitated only long enough to watch as the Kaisir and Magnus flew into the air, sword blows echoing like thunder. The skeleton and mage forces slowly pushed their way into the temple. No matter how many they cut down, there were always more that came. Each minute that passed pushed them further and further back in the temple. The second line of Qualm Knights had broken, and they were halfway to the third line as Ariel fought harder. But eventually, her strength wavered, and an undead warrior latched onto her wing. She tried shaking the zombie off, but the weight made it hard to move quickly, allowing more undead to swarm her, wrenching her axe away, latching onto her wings while dragging her down to her knees. A frustrated huff escaped her, looking up to lock gazes with Dane, power building in her chest before pulsing from her, only to fade into nothing. She tried repeatedly to blow them away, but the same result happened every time, eventually making her give in to being pinned to the ground.
I'm sorry, Rhinne,
she whispered, hearing Lilynouche belt out a command to fall back when a roar of fire and light rained all around her. Flashes of gold and blue light swirled around her, knocking the undead and wispy mages through the light with ease before the light stopped and revealed her brothers in battle armor.
Are you alright, dear sister?
Haim asked, holding out his hand to her. It took a moment for Ariel to recognize her brother, taking his hand as he helped her to her feet, then grabbed a dagger from his belt, balancing it on the tip of his finger while facing the oncoming horde.
Haim, you—
Save it for later, Ariel. Go to Rhinne. We will hold off his forces,
Nanahuatzin ordered, his shoulders squared, looking like a monument in his golden armor and spear. Ariel nodded, ordering Lilynouche to assist her brothers and follow their commands as her own while flying back to the temple. The chief Qualm Knights rallied, standing beside the deities and readying their spears.
I am happy to see you regain some of your old self, Haim. But we might not make it out of this alive. You know that, right?
Nanahuatzin said gravely, lowering his stance. Haim turned back to the horde, his eyes reflecting the last bit of his true self like a fading beacon in the night.
I am well aware. But as Minerna said, she and I have stood by for too long, watching the world. Our time is nearly over, and if I can help pave the way for the new goddess of time and the new god of life to be brighter and easier, then I will gladly make that sacrifice.
Haim growled, snatching the dagger out of the air.
It's going to be lonely without you two.
Nanahuatzin grinned, power threads dancing across his armor's facets.
Maybe. But you were the best of us. It's been an honor, brother.
Haim smiled, bracing his stance.
The honor was mine, brother.
Nanahuatzin grinned, both charging into the fray with the Qualm Knights close behind. As she ran, Ariel could hear the refreshed sound of battle behind her, cutting through the straggling soldiers of Sloe's forces on her way to the temple. As she swung through an enormous creature made of shadow, her axe stopped hard. Looking up made her blood run cold and the strength leave her legs. She locked eyes with Dane as he held back her axe with a taut chain.
Hello, Ariel, my love.
You are not Dane. Dane died when he took you in.
Ariel sneered. Sloe laughed, pulling the chain away and swatting at her, smacking the axe hard enough to numb Ariel's hands.
You are very much mistaken, my love. I am very much alive. I have simply awakened to what I am capable of. Stand down and let me see my daughter.
No! Never!
Ariel screamed, swinging her axe hard, only to be slapped aside by a chain. Ariel spun on the ball of her foot, unleashing a wave of ice. Chains broke through as others hurled at her, crisscrossing the halls for different seals. Spinning her axe as a blur, she managed to deflect them, ignoring the pain in her wings as some ground through the feathers. A blast of power launched from Ariel as Dane met and obliterated it, the resulting explosion forcing all fighting to the ground. Taking advantage of the resulting smoke, Ariel lunged with a hard swing. Blind as she was, she could not avoid the spear chain shooting up, cutting through her side. Ariel tried to glide away, but the injuries to her wings made it impossible, gliding a small distance before falling to the ground. No sooner had she hit the ground than chains wrapped around her body, the thorns on each link digging into her skin. Ariel screamed in pain as they tightened, digging further into her flesh.
I will see my daughter. Cease this pointless battle,
he demanded, tightening the chains further. Ariel began to feel her arms and ribs give way under the pressure. If they wound any tighter, her chest would collapse. She could hear her bones creaking within her body when a flash cut through the chains. Dane hurled another mass of chains that slammed into a huge shield before being thrown back by a blast of power. Ariel dropped to the ground, heaving for breath, when a strong hand grabbed her arm and pulled her back on her feet. After catching her breath, she followed the arm covered in deep sapphire blue armor to meet the face of her mother. Again, Ariel was taken aback by her armored appearance. Her wings, now made of light, hinged on mechanical points and hovered on her back, while her normally wheat blonde hair was now sky blue. Her armor shone like a dark blue gem, fitted to her trim figure.
Mother... why?
There isn't much time, but you deserve to know the truth. All of it.